What's up guys, Joe Dobby here, back at it again with another video for you today. I placed first at a 6-man Sweat Lodge tournament called Top Level Digimon. It is a Discord server that is hosted and I guess created by a guy named Blank. He actually streamed it as well, you can go follow him. In this deck, just a brief overview. The idea of this deck is to really threaten Blue Omnimon and Red Omnimon with high DP Digimon insecurity and Gaia Force and Trump Sword. That's ultimately it. Its goal is to really go over the 12k DP threshold when you're on the board in order to take care of those 12k DP Digimon or get through the 12k DP Digimon that could be in your opponent's security. So yes, I have been through a lot of Omnimon pains, and this is the monstrosity that I came up with to deal with it. That said, let's dive right into it. I did place first, which was awesome. It was tons of fun. Shout out to Blank and all the people that I faced. The reason why I say 6-man Sweat Lodge is because it was absolutely fierce competition. Everybody there wanted to play at their best, was playing at their top level to take the prize pool of 30 bucks because it was a win it all, right? And it was pretty fun. That said, I'm going to dive right into this deck right now and not waste any more time. I'm running 3 copies of Pagumon. Trash the top card of your deck when attacking. I don't know why I'm running 3 here, but I think it's because I was too lazy to switch out the Yamon from my other deck and put it into this one. So because of that, you see the 3 Yamon. Normally, or ideally, I would have probably ran it 3-2 in favor of Yamon instead of the Pagumon. But here we are, right? Yamon actually adds the DP boost, allows me to get over the 12k threshold for my Megas, and I get to 14k with the tie, so it goes even further, going to 14k, even 15 with Millenniumon under the right stack, so that's not too bad. 3 copies of Devimon, because it feels so great to put your opponent to 1 or 2 memory with a body on the board. More often than not, I was able to actually draw into this guy and end my opponent's turn with Devimon, or I hang on to him for a bit. So when I say I don't have any rookies, sometimes I don't really not have any rookies, because this guy's sitting there waiting to put you on 1 or 2 memory. I've got a Gabumon here, 4 copies of this draw engine, inheritable effect on deletion trigger, draw 2, discard 1. Absolutely great in this deck because sometimes I would hang on to a Gaia Force and be like, I don't want this. So I would Digivolve this into a Devimon, attack my opponent's Digimon, remove a body, draw 2, give me more options throughout the game. Really huge momentum swaying Gabumon. Sometimes I'd even draw into a Trump Sword and take out a high level Digimon. That's 2 bodies with the Devimon removing the first one, so that's pretty good. We've got 3 copies of Tapermon because I am more inclined to attack into security with a rookie when I have an on deletion effect like trigger draw 1. That's literally it. 4 copies of Tsukaimon. Yeah, gain 1 memory. Super great. You guys don't know how many times I've put my opponent, ended my opponent's turn because there was a Vilemon that I used to block with, died, and from 0 memory I go to 1. Matt puts me to 3. Whew, Tsukaimon's a great card. That's really what it is. Wizardmon. So on deletion, trigger, draw 1. I'm really playing him here for the 4 cost. Like, he's probably the cheapest champion. He's the only champion that's 4 cost in purple, which is why he's here. Also good draw engine, combos well with Gabumon and Tsukaimon, so I get double value when he swings into security because he's the card that I'm swinging into security with more often than not. 4 copies of Vilemon. So Vilemon to me is a card that I use to stall. I don't necessarily always block. And I actually use Vilemon to Digivolve up, which is why it can be very unexpected, I guess, on my opponent's side. And the reason why I Digivolve up with that is because I want to swing with my Devimon and my Wizardmon, right? So essentially Vilemon stays there as non-threatening until I'm put at a decent amount of memory to slowly boost up to a Mega. Or I can put my opponent to 1 by going into an Ultimate Digimon, setting myself up for a Mega in the next turn, especially if Matt is out. That makes it significantly easier. But that said, I don't always block with Vilemon unless I get absolute value in the form of a Gabumon or Tsukaimon underneath. Otherwise, I'm really just trying to use him as a stall tactic to prevent my opponent's rookies from attacking security early. That way I can ramp up using this Vilemon, and the Devimon and Wizardmon will attack either Digimon or security from there. It's really like, yeah, it's more like it's really just a little trick. 3 copies of Myotismon, cheap evolution Digimon, one of the few ones that we have in purple. My favorite Digimon line, Devimon, you know what it is. That's why I'm actually running this deck. And 7k with 8k tie, pretty great. I've actually swung with Myotismon, Chimeramon, Weregurumon a lot into security and managed to survive because of that tie, right? The only thing I could really die to is a level 5 from like, what, black, maybe Piximon from yellow, and that was like non-existent. So, especially in Blue Omni, I was able to get over a lot of the 6k DP Ultimate Digimon, so it's fine there. Also, great catalyst for Boltmon into Millenniumon. Great catalyst to Digivolve into Venom or Lilith and still be on my turn or put my opponent in 1 or 2 memories. Super great. 3 copies of Chimeramon. I've found that the sweet spot for me is 3. I don't necessarily need 4. 4 is more like if you have a purple mirror match and you really, really are like, it's a race for the Chimeramons to stay on the board. But the 3 was fine here. Put in so much work. I even comboed to a point where I Chimeramoned a Millenniumon that I had with a stack, so it came back ready, and I'd have 4 bodies to go next turn and close for game while my opponent was basically empty because I managed to take out 2 Digimon in 1 turn. Swing with the Millenniumon, Chimeramon that same one, and value, value, value. 1 copy of Weregurumon. I love having 1-ofs in decks, and this guy was so good. He put in a lot of work in one of my games where I had him underneath a Millenniumon. I was able to swing with Millenniumon with like 14k DP, get through that security check easy, swing again, and then get two security checks, almost guaranteed surviving because even if I get Gaia Forced or what have you, Millenniumon would just come back. So double value on that. Came in super clutch, but I only need the 1 because I'd rather ramp up much quicker than to go for this type of effect, especially when your matchup is against high DP Digimon or when they have very threatening security cards. That said, 3 copies of Venom Myotismon. I love this guy. Literally a beast. Dark animal. Security attack +1, 12k DP with a Yaman and a tie that makes him 14k DP. Will get over everything but an Omnimon or a Gaia Force when attacking. Terror Cluster would suck. Other things would be unfortunate as well, but I didn't see that too much, so that was fine. The best part of this guy is when it's my opponent's turn, I basically gain a memory whenever they would swing into my security, so they'd have to think twice. Combos amazingly well with a Vilemon and a Sukaimon, because if my opponent attacks with a high DP Digimon, but not necessarily a 12k, 13k DP Digimon, they'd lose a memory. Vilemon would block, they'd lose another memory, and if this Venom isn't taken care of, he's 100% swinging into that Mega, and they just lose a body, and I just gain all of the memory, so it's pretty good. Boltmon was huge, absolutely phenomenal in this game because I had to hard cast Boltmon against this super Megazoo-y, like high removal, high recovery deck, and yeah, absolutely clutch because an amazing bridge to Millenniumon. Also, very threatening at 12k DP and only 10 cost, right? It's your typical 12k DP, 10 cost Mega that most colors have, but with the tie, it just gets up to 13, and all of a sudden, you're over all of those other ones, which is really great, because I get to swing into security first, know that he's not going to die unless there's another option in there that's very threatening, and then go into Millenniumon with ease and remove a high DP or high level Digimon on my opponent's side of the board. Lilithmon is a 1-of, and let me tell you, 1-of is all you need, guys. Like, this Lilithmon puts in work. You just need 1 turn with her. You just need a very well-placed, well-timed Digivolution into Lilithmon, and you can grab your Night Raids, your Trump Swords, and use them on that turn, get the value, get to swing into security with a 12k, potentially 13k tie-in Yaman stack, and then Digivolve into Millenniumon once you've already received the value from the gaining 2 memory from playing a Night Raid, right? So it's all about gaining momentum. It's all about advancing your board state when you have an advantage, and Lilithmon with that 2 memory increase just puts me that much closer to my win condition, allowing me to play cards like Night Raid and Trump Sword at less punishing memory exchanges. 1 copy of Folk. I did manage to use him quite a bit, maybe I want to say 3 times throughout the entire tournament, and one of the games was actually sealed the deal for me. I was holding on to Volk for quite some time in that last round of my second match against the Purple Mirror, and I hit Night Raid during a security check, and my opponent had like 2 or 3 rookies. Once I hit that Night Raid, and on the next turn, I guess he didn't decide to attack. He just dropped more rookies, and then I Volcanic Dramon and just took care of that and managed to seal the deal. So that was really good. And once again, we've been talking about Millenniumon throughout the entire profile. This Millenniumon comes in absolutely clutch. Basically in purple, if you get to your Millenniumon really quickly and you're able to remove a high-cost Digimon from your opponent's board, you're in a very, very good spot. And that's the beauty of purple, is you get to this level 7 Digimon as you go wide with Night Raids, low-cost Digivolving Digimon, low-cost rookies. Well, not low-cost Digivolving Digimon, but low-cost rookies, Night Raids. I already said that. You get to go wide as you go tall, which is why I found this. I felt like this ratio needs a bit of, tinkering, but I felt like this was the most comfortable one that I could settle with. Anyway, 2 copies of Night Raid. You already know what it is. Night Raid brings back any purple level 3 Digimon from your trash without paying its cost for only 2, allowing me to get value, Gabumon, Tsukaimon, Digivolving immediately into a Devimon or a Vile, threatening for next turn or protecting for next turn, which is really, really great. It also allows me to bring out the rookie, not necessarily Digivolve into the Devimon, bait my opponent into going up, maybe swinging into security, and if they survive, that's an easy Digivolution into Devimon, getting rid of my opponent's attacker, and then reaping the benefits of a Gabumon or a Tsukaimon effect, so it's really good there. 2 copies of Trump Sword. You know what it is. Purple's removal card. Delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Comes clutch from the hand because of Lilithmon. Also, I can just grab it back later on with either Matt or Lilithmon. It really feels like I'm carrying 4 and not 2 in this deck, which is so good because my opponent just doesn't know what to expect in security. Is it going to be a 12k body? Is it going to be a Guy Force? Is it going to be a Night Raid? Is it going to be a Trump Sword? And 2 copies of Gaia Force here. Unconditional deletion and removal. He's not the reason why I wanted to splash red, but I ended up throwing Gaia Force in there as well to cover the weaknesses of Trump Sword, and I felt like 2 of each was fine. I could also delete Gaia Force or discard Gaia Force through effects like Pagumon, Gabumon, and not feel too bad. And I've actually paid 6 to play Gaia Force with Lilithmon once in one of the tournaments. I think it was against my green matchup, which is pretty good. 2 copies of Matt. Naturally, you gotta have that memory stabilization in purple. It's very hard to choke your opponent of memory if you are being choked of memory as well in purple, especially if you're hard casting things like Chimeramon a lot. At least with Matt, if I hard cast a Chimeramon, that puts my opponent to 4. With a Myotismon even, that puts my opponent to 3, and on my next turn I'm guaranteed 3, so I can go from Myotismon or Chimeramon into a Lilithmon or a Boltmon, or even a Venom Myotismon and put my opponent to like 1 or 2 memory. So really great card, allows me to grab some key things depending on the board state to win the game. And this is really why I wanted to splash red, because I was so frustrated with swinging into my opponent's security as a purple player and dying immediately to like Plesiomon, Phoenixmon, other metal Garurumons and like blue or purple, and Millenniumon, Omnimon, all that stuff. So I wanted that extra DP boost to at least get over 80% of the Digimon that would be in my opponent's security at any given time. And I just ended up splashing the Gaia Force because I felt like 4 Trump Sword was going to be a lot, or 3 Trump Sword was going to be a lot. And I felt like the Gaia Force had unconditional removal would be like very paramount in this deck. Also, I had the Volcanic Dramon, so I was like, okay, there's 2 red cards that'll probably stick a turn or 2, allowing me to use Gaia Force. So I figured I'd play them. That said, guys, that's the deck. I managed to take the last couple games 2-0, which was really good. And yeah, I'm apparently the reigning champ for the 6-man TLD tournament. Once another one is out, I'm very excited for that. I just wanted to say shout out to everyone on Twitch. You guys were so great, like supporting me between rounds, like, you know, just enjoying the game, just watching the game, and really just being there. And I was very, very glad to hear all the feedback from you guys about like my play, because yeah, I'm just really glad that I felt like I was really playing at my best here. And Like, shout out to Top Level Digimon, shout out to Blank for hosting something like this, because I felt like they were really able to bring out the best player in me in a situation like this where, you know, everyone was playing at their best. But with that said, that's the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a shot. I'm definitely gonna tinker around with it a little bit more, mess around with the ratios and stuff, and see what we come up at. But until then, check out my Twitch. I have the VOD highlight of the finals against Blue Omnimon with this deck on Twitch. My Twitch is in the description below, so just check that out. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.